What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Thank you for watching this video. I'm really excited about this one. So it's been a couple of weeks and I've really tried to hone in and sort of revamped really what's important to me and what I've been seeing in terms of coaching and people really pivoting into customer success, across all industries, from every part of the job search process, and talking to people and really seeing the pain points, right? And the way I've kind of, seen these is what I'm going to kind of go over this video for you guys all for free. And I'm going to really dive into a lot of things here. Is what I see across the board. And a little bit of backstory for me is, I came from hotels and I pivoted into customer success. So, but right now I work for it's a talent management company. It's an ATS. So I think there's a lot of, jargon or fluff around there about like what an ATS is, AI, all these things, right? So really, I've been here for almost 3 years now on the front lines working for an ATS. So I understand recruiters, hiring managers. I work with over 100 of them every single day across all industries. So I have pretty much like expert knowledge on what it takes for your like resumes and LinkedIn's and profiles and applications, the ones that get noticed, the ones that don't, the ones that maybe get fed out through knockout questions or screening questions, what AI tools the ATSs and the recruiters use. Ultimately, it's going to come down to creating less friction in the process possible and really having outcome-based bullet notes that are in a clean, easily parsed format for the ATS. And really the macro bucket that I've been sort of seeing is people seem to be falling in maybe 1 to 2 buckets that I've kind of seen or talked to. Is either they are completely from a different industry, they're completely just starting their search or pivot, let's say, into customer success. And they don't really know where to start. They're looking for resources, and maybe they just need help with these interviews. And then there's the other bucket that maybe they are an ADR or they have been a customer success manager, they've been laid off, and they know they've gone through multiple rounds of interviews. They've had rejections. They have a good resume. They have a good LinkedIn profile, content, all of that cyclical stuff, and that all that holistic pieces are right there. And really what I've kind of seen is I think people try to lump those two together, that like that's the same person, right? And really what I'm trying to do here is sort of separate the two. Those are very two different people and two different journeys that have two different levels of expectations and industry knowledge, right? So obviously like those people, could probably benefit for some, extreme interview prep, story coaching, and those things, which would be, very beneficial in that route. There's a lot of people out there that I've been talking to that are interested. They want to gain knowledge. They want to gain these resources. They want to understand what it takes for their LinkedIn, what it takes for their resume, what it takes to just have daily actions without necessarily spending or mortgaging their future, to get some reasonable action-packed information to hopefully get in the arena, get interviews, and see if this is a good fit and land more interviews. So that's really my goal here as someone who has been in your shoes, who is busy. I'm working as a customer success manager daily. I'm trying to build out a mentoring, asynchronous environment, a community, plus resources that are valuable to everyone, plus also paying it forward as much as I can. And I have plenty of testimonials to showcase that, so you can always reach out to me for testimonials. But my goal with this is to give you a simple action plan of essentially how to get noticed, land more interviews, and hopefully get more jobs with that. It's because that's the goal. The goal with this process is to see if this is a fit, see if your pivoting journey and take those actions, right? And see if it's a good fit. You want to take the car for a test drive first before spending $30,000 on a new car. Manual, automatic, is it a good fit for you, family, safety, right? So this is the same way. You shouldn't have to mortgage your entire future just to get some information and to at least get in the arena, get feedback. And then at that point, you may then have the ability to go, I either want more advanced coaching or I want to go do these things myself. But now you have the tools and the resources to really upskill. And that's really what I'm trying to do here. So without further ado, let me dive into a couple areas. All right. I wanted to just kind of quickly go into here because I thought it would be useful. If anyone does want to DM me, Kickstart, they can do that. It's going to be really over my services. And right now, everything's kind of like a combo pack. I just want to plug this for a second. Is you get a complete playbook, essentially, a Notion toolbook with resources, downloadables, books, getting started, how-tos, everything that you can basically think of: a daily job tracker, a daily action list, networking scripts, and really everything that you can actually imagine, plus videos that I've actually recorded for my coaching clients. And then also in that is, the resume audit. So I like to do kind of these sort of recorded audits, and I have tons of testimonials if you want to ask me about these, or if you want any feedback, and I'm also going to have them on my website as well. And that's really the idea is, get you in the arena, create less friction from someone who works as a customer success manager at an ATS company. I want to make sure you know the AI tools that recruiters are using, and not the advice of one recruiter. I work with hundreds of recruiters and hiring managers, and not in an interview format. I don't interview hiring managers and say, "Tell me about these so I can tell my clients." I am literally working with recruiters and hiring managers to optimize their funnel pipeline and talent for parsing and how you would actually flow through an ATS on a daily system. I'm also not going to give you maybe the only advice or the subjective view of one recruiter. So if you do kind of want to talk to me or what that would be like, I can kind of give you knowledge from hundreds of recruiters and hundreds of hiring managers that I work with on a daily basis, of like what resumes, LinkedIn's, applications, and that process works and moves through the system, right? Because that's basically what I do on a daily basis. So I just wanted to show you that here. I have more information all linked right here on my profile, and there's a lot of information here too, which has different videos, different how-tos as well. And that is actually linked to my website. I have a bunch of testimonials on here of people that have worked with me with their LinkedIn overhaul, their resume overhaul. You can click through here, landing pages of really what's included in the Launchpad, what's included with the audit. I do digital ongoing mentoring as well, and then the LinkedIn optimized audit right here, and then more feedback as well. But the other part that I wanted to kind of dive into here was more of the meat and potatoes, because I thought this was going to be really good in terms of just what I've been kind of noticing, across the board, and really is, some reasons from a customer success recruiter and that hire manager point of view of like why you are getting ghosted, and yes, this title might be a little clickbaity, but what I want you to know, and really what people can say about me is, I'm not going to give you BS. I'm not going to give you fluff here, and I want you to make sure that you're going through this and you're understanding like these are things you can easily apply. And then if you just have the training and resources and repetition, you will land more interviews and you will ultimately get higher rates of conversion into jobs, which is the important part, right? And so like I've been coaching now people for a couple of years, and really what I've seen is people either, like I was saying, those original buckets, either they don't know where to start, which is good. I have plenty of resources of that, where to get started, what is the lingo, the industry, but more importantly too, of I think everyone talks about like maybe like the salary or like QBR prep. Sure, that is one component of the interview process, but it's kind of like talking like, how do we throw a curveball in baseball first before throwing maybe a four-seam fastball and just getting your velocity up, right? The splashiness and those extra pieces will come eventually, but the first step when you're pivoting your journey is, what is the industry? Do you have these foundational pieces in? Do you have the mindset? Do you have the daily actions? Do you have your tracker? Do you have your systems? These are important for everything in life, whether it's working out, sports, or even job searching. This is what I kind of want to go through here, specific to the resume. Because I think a lot of people just say like, well, I've tailored it once, or they hired a random resume writer and everything, which again, like, is fine on its surface, but it's like, well, how did they frame it? Are they doing Canva design? Are they doing multiple columns? Where are they putting and positioning things, right? And that's really what I kind of want to go through a couple of here. And a lot of these are pulled from my experience working in clients' profiles as at an ATS and just seeing the buckets of their pipeline, new applicants, interviewing, hired, offered, dispositioning, right? And which ones are being dispositioned, which ones are being hired, and which ones are even in the interview round with notes. And the trend is there. It really, mistake number one is, using industry specific jargon instead of transferable value, right? And this can kind of play both ways, and the problem that is big here that I see on a lot of, resumes is whether you're coming from the restaurant industry or healthcare industry, is, you know, your resume sounds like it belongs to your old job, not the one you want, right? And I think that's a big piece that when you wear or you look through your resume, you need to look through it from the lens of the person that is going to be reading it, right? Not necessarily you. So, like, you need to kind of pass each stage. So that recruiter might only have 6 to 10 seconds. And no, AI is not like pushing you out there, screening tools and things like that in terms of really sorting, but ultimately, like, the decision the human is going to be making the call. So you need to make sure that your resume is framed in a way that it is appealing to that recruiter to then go, great, I will pass this along to a phone screen and ultimately to the hiring manager, right? You don't want to just say like your day to day, right? That's sort of the big thing. You want outcome oriented things of like, what did you do in your day to day that is outcome oriented that can sort of play future value to the job, right? So these are sort of like tips and tricks and everything. And I have a downloadable resource of this if you want. You can reach out to me directly for this actual breakdown. But this is good, and it's really just kind of swapping out the old for the new. Is you want to position yourself in a proactive manner. That's what customer success managers do daily instead of reactive. And this is really how you want to frame each bullet point when you go through here. This one might seem simple, but it is all too common. And I would say in here, I don't think I have one about that, but it's really like formatting and like when you're going through an ATS, it should be left to right, black and white, easily parsed, single font, nothing kind of bolded or italics and stuff like that. No columns, no grammatical errors, no like awkward spacing, right? So this one is pretty clear and everything because this is a good part where the ATS parsing language does matter here. Where whether it's a sorting feature or whether it's a how it transposes on your candidate profile, that is going to matter here. Just to the keywords that come over from the application, your resume, all matter here, and that's why the simpler the better. Generic resume, and really with the one that is more about this one is is tailoring your resume to each job description by highlighting the skills and experience that are most relevant, right? And I think this is true. And to a point, and this is the thing: if you have 100 jobs, you don't need to spend 1 hour tailoring your resume in Word for each job, right? But the concept around here is intentionality when you're applying to something, because talking to recruiters and seeing ones that actually see the people that hire, there's intentionality by there, because especially the further away you are from customer success, the more that kind of needs to like relate. If you are already a customer success manager, a lot of your like day-to-days or your outcome oriented things, your retention goals, your churn, that's probably going to be transferable, right, to another SaaS CSM position, right? So that person might have a little bit more leeway to tailor some specifics, whether it's like cybersecurity, martech, or fintech. Like, fine, they might have a little bit more, flexibility to do that. But like, if you are in a different industry, you sort of need to have that intentionality behind there, because if it's just generic, then there's no reason. Again, my theme here is there's no reason for that recruiter in the ATS and that hiring manager to go, I have new applicant pipeline funnel right here. This person here, like, you need to give them a reason to keep reading and to push you along, right? So if you tailor your resume to highlighting, specific projects, volunteering, and their preferred qualifications in the job description, you'll have better likely of success. This one is a big one here. It's really just kind of the STAR method. Everything should have kind of outcome related. If you can benchmark it, that's even better. Because some people say like resolved 85% of client inquiries on first contact, increasing retention by 12%. 85% sounds good, but like, what was the goal? Resolved 85%, was the goal 90. So also like keep it on one line. You don't want paragraphs or bullet notes because again, these are humans reading your resume. You do need to have like clean spacing. One, if it goes over a little bit, that's okay, but like it needs to have impact. But if you can benchmark your percentages or your dollar figures that you're putting in, great. And again, too, this is also where this part is going to come in handy, where you need to do an audit of your current job, especially if it's not in like sales or account management or customer success. Do you have utilization, adoption? Do you have risk management? Like if you're in healthcare, was there a protocol that you put in that you lowered the risk management? Did you personal training or fitness? Did people adopt your program more month over month or after doing certain things? Did you put in safety procedures and these things? Did someone click on widgets so you saw the adoption rate increase? All of these things still matter, as even if they're not necessarily tied to a dollar figure, and those are going to be matter here for sure. And again, this is the big line here. Failing to connect the dots for the recruiter, right? I think this is the big thing where it comes from your value prop, the statement as well. And it's really this general theme is I talk to and I work with recruiters on a daily basis and a hiring manager is the people that get hired and the people that move along in this workflow pipeline are the ones that can tie everything together. And like, why should they? Because why should that recruiter pass you along to the hiring manager if you're going to fill that growth position or that backfill, right? So you need to be able to communicate that on your LinkedIn, on your resume, concisely, that they are connecting the dots. You see, you will have the value. You're being proactive. You have outcome, measurable bullet notes. Bullet notes. Everything's clean, concise, professional, that way you tie it back, right? And almost give them a reason like why they should pick up the phone and have a phone screen with you, right? So again, guys, this is really, really crucial. And again, this is really what I'm trying to work on with people now is like on that top of the funnel is, getting started, pivoting, daily actions, resumes, ATS, being an expert in that. So if you want more, reach out to me. I can send you, this. It's a very low cost for these items, but I'm really trying to like pay it forward for people, especially like, as with these, the amount of value that you're probably going to get here, is really, really massive and everything. But I'm trying to do it, so for people that, that doesn't have to be, an over exhaustive price tag associated with that. But hopefully this is helpful. And then again, I'll have these resources available as well.